Alright, welcome back to As an Aristocrat, I use my appraisal skill to rise in the world. Anime review, episode number 4. I know it's not a full title, basically, but the YouTube does not allow me to use more letters. So basically, we're discussing episodes 7 and 8. 7 picks up exactly 1 year, like just about 1 year advance of the previous episode. Well, ours is now 12 years old, so they have like a big battle where Reese, Charlotte, and Rostel basically there help out in this big campaign, which was going on for like a month. And of course, they were victorious. Raven collapsed. And this episode is kind of his goodbye to the series. So he's like collapsed, and of course, he sees his two younger children. Ours gets to continue training. So then, of course, then he's about to seem like he's about to die. But first, he asks to see R's retainers. And of course, like at first, he didn't like it very much, but well, he didn't think he trusted, but they basically earned his trust over the course of the well. In the case of it, he'd been there the longest. Now, him and Charlotte, those two have been there at this point for 9 years. Rastella's been there since he was eventually he was 5 when he first met ours. That means currently, because it's been well about 7 years since they first met. It means well, I think he's like, let's see, I think because when he had the first time skip, ours, I think he's currently 11. Yes. Charlotte, I think she's probably, because they mentioned by this point, Ristelis, he's basically 23 years old at this point in time. Mm-hmm. So, they'll thank him, and of course, then of course, Lucia comes in because, well, she's going to be his future daughter-in-law. He's not, he realizes because he's dying, he's not going to make it to his son's wedding. So, he meets her, they have a good conversation. He mentions a flashback of how, kind of in the way this is the first they met. They actually first met at a different funeral, where he saw her giving like cookies to ours, no much younger, and he realized though that she'd be ours fiance because he'd be very useful to him. And then of course you see ours, and they have a long conversation, like mentioned how he first met. Basically, his future daughter-in-law's father, the fact that because of a mock battle. They had a long conversation, and then they have the funeral we saw in the first episode, where it's like they burn his body, and of course ours asks for their help, like their aid, and while him being, and he proclaims himself, and he has legal right to do this, the master of the house of Lafrita, and he becomes lord of the area. Excuse me. Then he's summoned to the headsman, which he actually accepts his promotion to be. He accepts him as basically a new lord because he has every legal right to do it. So basically preparing for the war, a new war of basically the war section about the brew up, and they mentioned that the Oldebra has got this supply port, and sort of in a way this areas of this province been divided. So, and they're supporting, of course, the elder brother. They showed that the younger brother is very evil for some reason. Despite the fact they said he was actually more, seemed like he was more like a person who could be the next governor, but who knows. So there is this town which apparently is they're being held. They're going to plan to subjugate it, and they're bunkered down. But ours comes to basically a proposal to him, with they showing the flashback of him and his 3 retainers. Rosella basically comes to the interesting, like, why do they hold out here? So Rosella comes to the interesting idea of hiring mercenaries, namely Shadow. By the way, this all happens in episode 8. So he'll get contact with them and let them handle the subjugation of this town. And of course, he opposes it. Kind of doesn't mention the Shadow stuff, but he does mention that let us handle it. All right. And puts some good points, and well, he gets the job of subjugating this town. Not all 3 armies per se, but he'll take care of it. Then he goes meets, and of course, then he goes to the orphanage, which of course see the kids from episode 3 again, which of course they got bigger because it's been like 9 years, so they're practically teenagers now. Like one's a farmer, a baker, a soldier, like all this other stuff. And we have this orphanage that the R's apparently set up during all this time off screen. He also brings up to the kids that Charlotte's sent most of her salary to you guys. And you're like, what? Yeah. So, and of course, Lucia shows up too because, well, her father's in town. Why not? And of course, they all spend the night at the orphanage. This is a funny scene where, like, Lucia really wants to share the bed with ours. And Charlotte's like, nope, I'm sharing bed with him. And of course, you have, and then Rosedale decides to share the same bed too. So you have Charlotte, Lucia, ours, and you have these four all sharing a bed, and it's so funny. Where, like, the guys look like they have a sleep wink, but yeah, after coffee, they're perfectly fine. Then they meet up. They're going to meet up the next day with, of course, Shadow. They have to go to a bar near the outskirts of the town. And Lucia, they said, no, you shouldn't go. But she goes anyways. So, the five of them, yes, the five of them, all go to this place. Or some juice. And then, of course, ours uses the appraisal to look for the leader. And then he sees this female, what appears to be a female waiter, but actually is a guy. And gives an expression. And then, after he makes his order, like any sane person, goes to use the bathroom. Because, of course, they will. And then, of course, the waiter comes in and threatens him, like, how'd you know I'm the leader of Shadow? And then Marcel and Lucia come in. And they obviously point out how ours figured out his appraisal skill and his expression. Yep. So, after some explaining, he agrees to take a job, no problem. Figure out why they're basically held down here. And, by the way, his name is Flam. They first knew his name is, I think it was like Milk. He's like shocked if I could hear the name, but he's like, I tell his name away. My name is Flam now. And, of course, he agrees to it. And his price is up front, 3 silver coins, and for the job, one gold coin. Ours like, that's no problem. And of course, he'll sit out and be back in 5 days. I'm like, okay. I'm glad the fact for episode number, well, in the case of 8, they do mention there is time skip between episodes. Unlike the last one, which was 1 year. The 7's only 3 months, which makes it the first one since, I think the last this happened was, what, they had 3 months? It is between episodes 2 and 3, what is a 3-month time skip. And then between, I think it was like 3 and 4, it was like 3 years. And then like after episode 4, it's like 3 years that one. And that continues to 5 and 6. I think like 5 is like 2 years later. And then by of course episode 7, it's been 1 year. And that was actually the second shortest time skip they actually have. It's like they like having time skips between episodes. They have to keep jumping ahead because that's how the light novel is presented. Yep. But still 2 really good episodes. We're getting very close to the finish line with this one. We have 4 more to go, and then we're done. And then move on to something else. Yep. So that's pretty much it, particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do hit the like button. Next up, we have basically their Comic Corner, and then back to series. Okay, next video. Bye.